Sometimes in the busyness of life, of raising kids, of teaching kids, we don't take the proper time that we need to be able to plan out what our goals and expectations for our families are. And so in this session, what I'd like to do is just walk you through, step by step, a simple way to develop a simple plan for your family. Now, in the years that I was homeschooling my children, I kept a plan together. I kept myself organized and thought through things, and I did all of that in composition notebooks. I just kept them in notebooks, and I would write out my big plans, and I would go all the way down to my daily plans in it. And so through the years of doing that, what we have done is we have taken this concept that's in this composition notebook, and we've put it in a planner. And we call this planner a simple plan. And it's just that. It's a way of developing simplicity in the planning of our school year. And today what I'd like to do is just walk you through step by step some things that you can do to plan for a successful school year. The very first thing that you'll find in the planner is a student section. And this area is for you to think of what the ideal weekly schedule for your child would be. Thinking of each child that you have, you know when they're the sharpest. You know when they're really hitting on all cylinders and ready to do their schoolwork. And so based on that, you would want to line up their subjects with their more difficult ones at that time that they're really working hard and you know that you have their best attention. And so the very first thing you do is set up what that schedule would look like. In our simple plan, we have an area for you to put your subject and your curriculum that you're using as well. So right now we're just beginning to think about what this school year looks like. And the very first thing we do is we get the tools together that we need to be able to plan the school year. So with that, what you would need is a planner of your choice. I would have a composition notebook or a spiral notebook somewhere around 2 so you can write ideas in. And then also you'll need pencils. And I always tell moms, never let a pen touch your planner. Keep pens away from your planner. And in saying that, it's because a planner is something that needs to work for you. It's not something that you work for. You will also need to make sure you have your curriculum with you. And one thing that I would like to say and recommend is that if you are able to step away, to be able to get away from the routine of life just for a few hours every day, and if you're really fortunate, maybe you can even step away for a couple days to where you have some time to be able to plan, to think, and if your husband can come along with you in that time, and you're able to really think through the goals of what you're working toward as a family and do your planning, that's an ideal way to plan out the school year. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to look at big picture planning. Big picture planning is what I like to call the umbrella planning. It's what everything is going to fall under. And when you're looking at this, it's your yearly overview. And what you're doing is you're being able to take a child and a subject that you're going to teach and the curriculum that you're going to use, and you're going to sit down with this curriculum and you're going to look through it and you're going to say to yourself, if I'm starting on this date, and I want to end school on this date, how can I reach my goals with this curriculum? How can I accomplish the things in it that I want to? And so you're going to begin to familiarize yourself with the curriculum. And the example curriculum that I'm using right now is Apologia, Exploring Creation with Human Anatomy. And this would be, setting it up for an elementary. I'm working on an elementary age lesson plan at this time. So doing this yearly overview, I would look at this curriculum. I would go through it, look at how it's set up. I would look at the table of contents, see how many chapters I have. How are the units divided? And how many lessons would I need to accomplish each week to be able to finish at my targeted time, at the time that I've set for my family to be done with our official schoolwork. Now let's talk more about where the rubber meets the road, and this is called your weekly planning. In a simple plan, what we have done is we have given you tabs that have the months. Also, a simple plan is a 1-year a one-year planner. Unlike many school planners that only go 9 months, you have an entire year in here, because we recognize that homeschool families, we don't operate within the times of our school systems a lot of times. And so therefore, if we want to start in summer and take a big long break in the winter, we most certainly have the freedom to do that. And so we've recognized that in the way that we've designed the planner. When you're looking at a month in your planner, the very first thing that you're going to see under those tabs, monthly tabs, is a page called A Month at a Glance. A month at a glance is very intentional. It's so that you can think through that month and the things that you want to accomplish that are even apart from the curriculum. Very simply laid out on just a 2-page spread to give you the opportunity to think through, what do I want my July to look like? We have the section called Things to Accomplish. This is for you to think through, what are some special things that I want to accomplish? You know what? It could be as simple as spring cleaning, or it could be as complex as working on a character quality for the whole month with one of your children. Then underneath that, you have special activities. Think through the things that are going to take you out of the home. Do you have a trip to the zoo that you want to get in one more time before the weather turns off cold? Maybe it's even just a getaway with your husband. A lot of times, if we don't plan it, we don't do it. And so think of that month as a whole, even before the month begins. And this is the page that you would do that on. Next, we have an area called Supplies Needed. Many times we lack the supplies that we need to be able to accomplish the science experiments that we want to get done. Or we have a craft that we're wanting the kids to work on. And then when we sit down at the table to do it, we end up missing something that we're needing. And so this supplies needed list gives you an opportunity to write down, think through. Look at your yearly overview. Look at what you have planned for that week. Look at the chapters in your book. If there's stuff that you need to get it on this list and be sure to pick them up before the month begins. And then last but not least, you have a reading list. And this is just simply an area for you to think of, what books do I want to read to my children this month, or what books do they need to read to me, or what books do they need to read independently, and get them on the reading list. And we've had a lot of moms tell us that they use this reading list to go ahead and reserve the books at the library so that they can just swing by, pick them up, and have them for the month. But however you use it, you also are creating a log of the progress that you're making through doing different reading projects. The very next page in your planner is a full view of a month calendar. This is very important. I always tell moms, get down everything on that calendar that is going to take your time. Even if it's weekly things that you know without a shadow of a doubt you're always going to do. Maybe it's church on Wednesday night. Maybe you have soccer practice every Tuesday and Thursday, or dance every Friday. Still, get it down on the calendar, because without fail, someone is going to try to add to your calendar. And you need to be able to look at that calendar and count the cost to see if you have the time and the opportunity to be able to help someone or to do something, or if you need to say no because you know the responsibilities that you have on your shoulders. And so with that, fill out that monthly calendar. After you've thought through your monthly calendar, you're ready to begin planning your daily assignments. Now, one thing that I recommend is that you do not get ahead with your weekly assignments. And what I mean by that is plan each week. Take some time over the weekend. Maybe it's Sunday evening. My time was always Sunday evening. I would sit down for about an hour and a half and I would lay out my plans for the following week. And the reason that I did that was because without fail, if I tried to get too far ahead and fill out 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, life was going to happen. Kids are going to get sick. Doctor's appointments are going to be made. Friends are going to need me for something. Husband's going to want me to run and do something or take care of errands. Things are going to get off track. And there's nothing more frustrating than having a planner that's all nicely filled out and yet not relevant to where you are. And so with that, plan a week at a time. Think through what you want to accomplish through those weekdays and get them in your planner. And then as you're going through them and as you're doing them and you're accomplishing them, a simple plan has a little place that you can just check that it's done. So you can feel accomplished, that you have completed what you have set in your planner to do. And at the end of the week, what's not done, that's no sweat either. You can just transfer it over to the following week or take that into consideration when you're planning. We also have a notes section in here to where you can carry things over into your notes. Other words, there may be a concept that your child's just struggling with. You know, sometimes they're just not going to get things as quickly as what the books say they are going to. But that's okay. Just write it down in your notes that you're going to work on this and continue to progress in whatever area that is. And don't let it become a taskmaster where you feel like you just have to mark things off and get going and they just have to keep up with you, because that's not homeschool and that's not life. And so we need to be quick to recognize those things and just get them down. Really, that is it. That is the nuts and bolts of a simple plan. You've done your overview, your canopy planning, and you've done your monthly planning, and you've done your weekly planning, and you've got a good plan in place to begin. And you're more apt to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish with your children when you have a good, simple plan. Happy planning. Another option is our online version of a simple plan. It's our free online lesson planner where you can do everything that the paper version offers and much more. Check us out today at mardell.com.